Hi friends, and thanks for being here. I'm Anna Helman. Today we are doing a card tutorial that any card maker can do, whether you are brand new or you've been doing this for decades. I came up with this new idea for making a lot of cards at one time. I know you have loved my tutorials in the past for mass producing cards, and I came up with a really simple way to make some gorgeous cards. I'm excited to share it with you today, and at the end we'll talk. If you ever get down on life, you get frustrated, we're gonna chat a little bit about that at the end, so I hope you'll stick around. So here's what we need to make today's cards. We are going to make 16 cards all at once. And this is what I started with. I started with 3 colors of cardstock, 3 sheets of each color, 3 sheets of white cardstock, a few of my 1/2-inch strips. When I cut my inside card mats for my cards, I end up with a lot of these 1/2-inch strips left, a few of these, a couple of embellishments. I've got a little bit of ribbon and some dots in colors that coordinate with my cardstock. I'm going to use 1 stamp set, and I'll show you the stamp set I chose. I love stamp sets that have a nice assortment of images and a few nice greetings, and this one is perfect. I love that it has some flowers, some butterflies, we have some leaves. So if we just do leaves, we could have some masculine cards, but we have an assortment of the images, we have some different greetings, and then we need ink colors in the colors of the cardstock. So I have Petunia Pop, I have Peach Pie, I have Shy Shamrock is my 3rd color that I chose. These are all brand new colors. I love how beautiful they are together, and I think as you see these cards come together, you are going to love them more and more yourself. So what I want to do first, since we're talking about making a lot of cards at once, I want to quickly share with you how I prepare my card bases quickly, okay? There are some tips. Even just cutting and folding your card bases can take quite a bit of time. So I am going to show you here how I do this quickly, and we will get started right now. So I love that the Stampin' Up! Trimmer has the scoring blade and the cutting blade. The light gray one that I just used, that is the scoring blade. Now this one is the cutting blade. So what I do when I prepare my bases is this. I line up, my paper is the tall direction, and I line it up at 4 1/4 over here. You may see that I have lines on my trimmer. I'm going to put a link in the video description below for a video where I explain about the lines on my trimmer. I put them on there to help make it easy to cut and prep my card bases and my card mats. So I line it up at 4 1/4 here. I use the scoring blade. Now I have 2 sheets of cardstock stacked on top of each other right here. You can do this, and when you score, you may want to press a little bit harder than normal just to make sure that you get it scored through to both layers, but you can do 2 at once. So I score at 4 1/4. I turn it sideways. Let's do that. Let's score at 4 1/4. Sometimes I go down and back just for good measure to make sure I got it. And then I'm lining up at 5 1/2. I cut, and I have 4 card bases here and prepared. So let's bring these card bases in, and I'll show you another tip I just discovered recently. So when I send out my customer thank yous for the month, I am sending out quite a lot of cards at one time. I'm making up a lot of cards at once and sending those out together. So I discovered this recently, that these are actually going to be the insides of my cards. But I discovered that if I just put my insides on first, which if you're going to stamp the insides, you'll want to do that ahead of time. But I found that this really saves me a lot of time. I used to always decorate the fronts of my cards first. I would fold them, I would decorate the fronts, then I would unfold them, I would do the insides, I would fold them back shut again. And all of that I realized was taking a lot of time that I could save if I just put the insides in my cards first before I fold them. and decorate them. Now, if you do it this way, you do have to keep in mind, you have to keep track of where that inside piece is. If you end up decorating it this way, it's going to be on the wrong side. So you just have to keep track of that where it is. Make sure you put it together the right way. So as you can see, I am just very casually folding these card bases. So here is something else that I have discovered here. My friend Barb shared this amazing tip with me that made it so much easier to fold and crease a lot of card bases at one time. So because I had those creased in the center, I can just give it a nice casual crease. After I have several stacked up here, I can use my finger and run along there, and that actually creases it pretty well. But to get a nice flat fold here, I'll run it over that with my bone folder, and all of these lay really nice and flat now. So let's do that with these other 8. Really helps to save a lot of time, these different tips. So here in just a moment, we're going to start stamping, and I made up a practice batch of these cards ahead of time. Actually, if you stick around for the end for our little chat about life, you'll hear why I made up a practice batch of these cards. It was not on purpose, but I made up a practice batch regardless, and I really love how they turn out. So hope you'll stick around to see our finished products. Like I said, we're going to end up with 16 cards here, 4 of each color. 4 white, 4 petunia, 4 peach, and 4 of that shy shamrock. And they're all going to be different. That's what I love about this when I do my tutorials on making a lot of cards at one time. I almost always share how doing this in a way that they all end up as unique cards, so that you're not just sending out a whole bunch of the same card. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because that is totally fine too. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is get ready and do some stamping. So I am going to bring in a piece of cardstock. I told you we're starting with 3 sheets of each color of cardstock, right? So we've cut 2 of each sheet into the card bases. Now we are going to do a bit of stamping. So here is my peach pie cardstock. Here is my peach pie ink pad. And as you can see, I already prepped some of this and stamped these butterflies all over most of the cardstock. So I'm going to finish this here. I decided that doing some monochromatic pieces would be really a nice touch for these cards. So I'll show you here. I've already prepared my pieces like this in the other colors. So let's take a look at them. I have this piece stamped with the butterfly. Here is the one that I stamped with the flowers, and Petunia Pop is the color. I'll bring in the stamp set here again so you can see. So I stamped 1 sheet with the butterfly, 1 with the flower. I'll show you the one with the leaves here that I did in Shy Shamrock. And we have 1 piece of plain white cardstock left. So here is what we are going to do with these. I am going to split these up into these 2 and the other 2. I need to bring my trimmer back in here. We are going to start doing a bit of cutting. Now, for those of you who like precision and measurements and very detailed instructions, this may not be your favorite idea, but I really encourage you to try it out. So what I am doing is I'm just going to cut these. I am not going to use any particular measurements. As we go through, I'm going to try and tell you the measurements, just so that if you want to actually recreate these cards, you can do it exactly. But I am encouraging you, just bring this in and just start cutting, okay? So I am just gonna start cutting. I'm gonna tell you my measurements, so you can do this again if you want to, but there's one at a 3. Here is one at a 1.5. we're gonna do this one at 2 3/4. So I have strips in these widths, okay? Now let's do these, I'll do them from narrowest to widest, okay? Let's cut the narrowest one apart first. For this one, I am going to line it up at 5.5. And I told you we're not measuring, but like I said, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm cutting at in case you wanna recreate them. Gonna cut this one here, looks like 3 3/4. This one we'll do at 4.5. So as we do this, we're going to end up with all these different sizes and shapes of pieces that we can build our cards with. As I was doing this, I felt like it was a little bit like making. This one's at 2.5. It was almost like I was making my own card kit. 4. And this one, we'll do one here at 1.5. Almost like making my own card kit. Like if you wanted to go do stamping, I know sometimes our supplies are not travel friendly, but I hear from some of you who like to travel and take some things with you. Like this would be a perfect thing to do, to make up. This one's at 3. Make up and take with you somewhere. If you wanted to travel, take some things with you and not have to take a ton of supplies. This one I lined up at 5. Okay, so we have lots of sizes and shapes here. One thing I am keeping in mind is I don't want any pieces larger than my card base itself. So I don't want anything that's going to be larger than 4 1/4 by 5.5. Made sure I kept them smaller than that. Now these, I have the peach pie and I have a plain white piece in the background. So what is that piece going to be for? Right now it's still a mystery, right? Let's line this one up at 2 and cut. Let's line this one up at 3 3/4 and cut. And we'll leave this one just the way it is, okay? So we'll do this again in the same order, or well, we'll go from narrow to wide. So from my narrowest piece here, we'll cut at 3. And we'll cut one more time. Let's cut at 4 1/4. So I'm getting these pieces in the peach pie with the white also. So the one that was the middle width, let's cut this one at 4 1/4. And let's cut one at 2. And last but not least, let's cut this one at 4. No, I don't know why, but I don't want that to be square. Let's cut it at 3 1/2. We don't have to have reasons as the creative people who direct our projects, right? I don't have to understand why I don't want a square. I just didn't want a square. Okay, so this one I lined up at 4 1/2. So let's look at all these pieces we have. We have lots of pieces, right? We have lots of card bases. We have lots of pieces. What I'm gonna do now is pull out all these white pieces and we are going to figure out what we're doing with those. We will prepare these. Then the only thing we have left is those little white strips that I talked about. I haven't explained what we're doing with those yet. We will talk about those next, and then we will be ready to put these amazing cards together. So we are going to do some stamping on these. What we're going to do here is make these a little bit more like a focal point for a card. So these I think are amazing background pieces for a card, kind of like we created our own designer papers. So those are ready and they're going to make a great background. What I want to do now is create some pieces that will be a little bit more appropriate for the main interest on our cards. So I have my stamps, I have my 3 ink pads, I'm going to set them here so that they are easy to get to. I don't know if you ever do this. When I am stamping multiple colors and multiple stamps, and I'm always keeping, like I'm keeping the butterfly with the peach and the shamrock with the leaf and these, I like to just lay my stamps on those ink pads, because this way, if this one is covered and I'm stamping with this one, I don't accidentally, do you ever ink your stamp on the wrong ink pad? If they're covered like this, that is not going to happen. I don't have to worry about it. So I am going to ink up my stamp and start stamping. So I'm gonna stamp once here, and you are seeing me do this several times here. I'm gonna stamp off a couple of times to get that faded effect. I wanted one kind of as the main interest, but because we have this extra space on the sides, I thought that was gonna look awkward. I didn't measure any of these, of course. I didn't plan this out. So I'm just gonna fill that in with some additional stamps that are just a little bit faded. Okay, this one, what I'm gonna do here is just kind of match up my pieces with the stamp so that they fill in the space nicely. So that one I think looks nice with that leaf stamp. We will move through these. We'll do these bigger ones. I'm gonna do with flowers. Do you love this flower stamp as much as I do? And this color? Love this petunia pop color. This one, we're gonna try 2 leaves on this one. One there, and thought about stamping off and making it faded, but I'm not going to this time. One there. Sometimes I think we make stamping so rigid. Can I call it rigid? Like we're worried about all the measurements. We're worried about all the things. Let's do some stamping off this time. I'm gonna stamp a second time there to get that faded color, and then I want this same faded color over here. So I'm gonna stamp once there on my scrap paper and get the faded effect on the left side. Let's see how many pieces we have left. And I have a feeling I'm going to want some more of these, so I am going to cut this one down into 2 pieces. Because I did my practice run before, I realized that it might have been helpful to have a few more of these white pieces. So if you get to the end of making your cards and you don't have enough of these, just cut a few more. That's okay. And let's try something different. Let's stamp off like that. Let's do another one with the leaf here. Let's do another flower. And last but not least, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? I'm gonna do another flower because I love them. And I love this color. Don't ask me why I did that sideways. Don't ask me why I did it at an angle. That's just the way it came out. Okay. All right, now let's bring in these white strips. And I showed you that this stamp set had some of these nice small greeting stamps. There's one that says thanks, and there's one that says dear friend. And I like these little greetings that are nice for strips for several reasons. One of which is it is so quick and easy to make greetings onto these 1/2-inch pieces of white cardstock that I always have lots lying around from cutting my card mats for the insides of my cards. So what I do, I did this ahead of time. I prepared quite a few of these. I stamped strips of the different greetings in the different colors. And then what I do is I just come in with my snips. You can do this with a trimmer if you prefer, but I find it's quick and easy, and they turn out straight enough that no one is going to notice that they're not perfect. No one's going to notice that I cut these by hand. But anyway, I just cut them into pieces, and you can see here I have quite a few already prepared that we will put on these cards in just a moment. So here's the fun part. Let's start to assemble. I'm going to bring in a few of these card bases and start laying out some of the pieces on top of them. So we'll bring in 2 of each color. You may not be able to see quite all of this, but hopefully you can see most of it. And I am just going to start grabbing pieces and laying them out. This is just so much fun because everything coordinates here. It doesn't really matter what I put where and how I decide to put these together. Okay, we can do monochromatics, we can do peach on peach, we can do any combination we want to. And no matter what we do, they're going to look nice. So I'll lay some of these out first. I like that square. We're going to turn that into a diamond, I think. Let's do some monochromatic over here. That seems fun. What should we put down here in this one? I think we need that right there. Okay, now let's bring in some of those highlight pieces that we stamped and decide where we want to put them. Could put that there. And again, I can lay these on if I decide, oh, you know, I'm not really sure I love that one. Why don't we switch that up? We'll trade it out. We'll put a different piece there. What about a leaf here? Oh, yep, I think that's gonna look nice there. So let's start to, actually, we need one right here. Let's start to assemble these. And actually this one I am going to do without one of the white pieces on top. I'm going to do a few that I do without the white piece and just with those pieces I called more like background pieces. So let's do a little bit of assembling. I want to share, if you love these colors, I want to mention real quick, if you're watching shortly after this is released, there is a way you can get these colors plus these 2 right here, Pretty in Pink and Summer Splash, for free right now. And I will explain that as I flip these pieces over and start assembling. Now I'm going to stack these off screen so that I have some space here to start working. So I am just going to flip my pieces over and start using adhesive on the back. Now a lot of times I use tape. Love my tape runner. I could not make cards without it. But when I'm doing a lot of cards at once, a lot of times I'll actually bring my glue in because I think it's a little bit faster. And I start putting that adhesive on. If you notice, I like to start in the center and go to the outside. When you start applying glue, do you ever end up with a glob of glue right near the edge, and then you put it on your card and it oozes out? Nobody likes that. We don't like when that happens. And so anyway, I start in the center and do it that way. And glue is nice because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, because I'm like, I'm not really sure I love that that's in the center. Okay, so I can move it down a little bit. So these colors, your chance to get them free right now if you are interested. This is how. So we have a starter kit offer right now. Our starter kit is always available for purchase. The regular cost is $99. You get to choose $125 worth of products, and you get some extra things thrown in. So right now, it's the same offer. You get to choose $125 worth of products. Costs $99. You get free shipping, and you get all of these 5 new colors thrown in. It's not just the ink pads. It is actually the cardstock, the markers, and the designer papers. Sometimes that's hard for me to glue and talk at the same time. So That's why it's taking me a moment here to talk and explain this. So it is, I believe it is between $60 and $80 worth of free products. When you add those things up, you get these beautiful colors, plus that pretty in pink and the summer splash like I just mentioned. And at that point, you get to enjoy your products. If you want to order more products, you can keep ordering products at a 20% discount or possibly greater. And if you don't want to keep ordering, you don't have to keep ordering. There is the chance if you do this, you become a part of my Stamp It Up team. We do Zoom craft nights once a month. We have an online group where we share ideas. We do all kinds of fun things, but I would love to have you try that out. It's a great chance to get these colors for free if you're interested. So I will link in the video description below to more information on that if you want to find out. So as you can see, I am just attaching these together now. I change of plans. I will do some of this off screen and come right back and show you the finished cards. But I did want to show you some of these we can keep really simple if we want to. Okay, these are beautiful cards. They'd make beautiful card sets. If you're ever looking for gift ideas for people, you're like not sure what to get them, you'd love to make cards, you have lots of cards in your collection, make up card sets because these coordinate. It'd be so easy to tie 4 of these together with a little piece of twine or a little ribbon. And with the envelopes, for people who don't make cards, you want to make sure you include the envelopes. Tie them together, makes a great little gift. But let's say you want to step these up a little bit. That's why I brought in some of these embellishments. So I pre-cut some pieces of ribbon in the theme of this, in the spirit of this tutorial. I did not measure any of them. Okay, I just cut a few different lengths. And let's go ahead and attach these on. We will add some ribbon and some gems to these. And then, see, here I am grabbing my tape runner, because that's what I almost always use, right? So I'm a creature of habit. I'm trying to grab what I almost always use. Let's put this here. I am going to put a piece of ribbon here, I believe, and that over top. So there's different ways to attach ribbon. I'm just going to put a teeny tiny stream of glue here. I don't want it to be very thick, because if I do, this is a type of ribbon that it could come out the front, and I don't want that to happen. Put this lovely flower on here. I'm going to leave most of that ribbon showing. Now let's put these together, and then we'll add a few gems to both of these. So one of the things I love about sharing simple card tutorials is if you want to use this as is, you can. Now for this, I am going to use a little bit of tape because it will hold my ribbon in place a little faster. I am going to fold this and stick it right here, I think. I can hold this piece up over top, make sure that's what I want. Yep, I think I like that. So you can use these tutorials as is if you want. You can change them up. You can make them more elaborate. You could create all of this on a card mat and then put it onto a card base to end up with another extra layer just to step it up a little bit. Now here is my gems, and I can't forget about my greetings, right? We have another step I didn't mention, which is the greetings, and we will do that in a moment too. So actually let's do greetings first, because then I don't want them to get in the way of wherever I put my gems. So I have some of the greetings that say dear friend, I have some that say thanks, and I'll show you a way I like to put my, so I like to put my tags on in most cases with foam dimensionals to pop them up a little bit. You don't have to do this. You can put them directly on your card so they lay flat, but I just love the extra little touch that this adds. and it doesn't take any extra work at all. Now, the way I like to do this, especially when I'm doing a lot of them, this is my take your pick tool. And it is very helpful if you have any problems with your hands or you just have a hard time handling small pieces, or if your hands shake at all. I really like this. So I can pierce through the foam dimensional. Just set this out of the way here. I could pierce through, lift it up, place it on my card or my piece, whatever I'm doing. And then if I'm careful about it, as I lift up, it actually pulls that paper piece off and the backing is already removed. If you ever get frustrated removing that paper backing, this is a great way. Takes practice a couple of times, but after you get the hang of it, it's really helpful. So we can lift those papers off and just get a lot of these ready to put on our cards. And then we can just run through and put them all on, all at the same time. So I'll do this one, and then we can put these greetings on. One thing about having adhesive on several pieces at once, you do have to be careful it doesn't end up either sticking to you or sticking to... See, I got another one sticking to me here. And I like that color and that greeting with this card. Let's bring in a couple more and add these other two greetings that I have here prepared. Put thanks right there. This one is a green thanks. Let's put it right in the middle there, kind of as our focal point since we didn't put one of the white pieces on. And now let's just add a couple of gems. We'll do this on just these two, and then I'm going to take a quick break. I will come back and show you all of these finished cards, and we will chat if you want to stick around for that. So I just love these new colors. I would love to know. So of these colors, I know you only saw Summer Splash and Pretty in Pink for a second, but of these colors, which color is your favorite? The Peach Pie, the Shy Shamrock, the Petunia Pop. I have a really hard time picking favorites. I don't know about you. So I'm not sure if I thought I had a favorite, and now that I've made these cards today, I am actually wondering if I have new favorites. So we can put some gems on like that and have just a nice set of cards, a nice big set of cards made up quickly. Let me take a little break. I'll be right back and show you the finished cards. Okay, so I'm back. I got all of these attached together. I got the greetings added, a little bit of ribbon, some gems, and I wanted to show them to you. So we'll look at, this is half of them, and I'll show you the other half. And if you would like to see pictures of any of these still photos so that you can recreate them yourself, anytime you want to see still photos of the projects that I create, there will be a link in the video description below where you can go to my website and you will see those photos, as well as lots of other information and resources and project ideas, all kinds of things you can find there. So here are the other 8. And I'm trying to think, did I have any pieces left over? I think I actually used up all of them on this one. In just a moment, I told you I had a practice round. I made these sets of cards twice. I'm going to show you my other set because they are a little bit different. So here are these. I absolutely love the colors of these. I was thinking my eye buds, I don't know why I'm thinking of this. You know, your taste buds. We all have different taste buds. We like different things. So these are the other ones, my practices that I made up the first time. But I don't know if your eye buds love these cards, but my eye buds are definitely loving these cards. So here is half of the first round. Here's the other half of the first round that I will explain in just a moment why. So very, very pretty cards with the Spotlight on Nature stamp set. So thanks so much for being here. Stick around. Let's chat for a minute. So why did I make my practice set of cards? I've been referring to this several times. So do you ever get down on life, friends? Ever get frustrated? Things ever not go the way you want them to go? I totally understand. So when I make videos, it is kind of a lot of work. You can probably imagine if you think about the prep, all the things I have ready and the ideas that I've come up with and all these things. And a couple of times since I have started doing this, I have recorded a video that did not record and I was not able to use it. And it's like probably hours of work that goes into one of these videos, sometimes a lot of hours of work. And when I get done and there's nothing there and I cannot share it with you, it is a little bit heartbreaking. So that happened as I was trying to record this video yesterday. None of my equipment was working right. I'm trying to set up move around some lights, and my microphone wasn't working, and my program I used to record none of these things were working. And then I finally was like, okay, I can do it. The microphone isn't going to sound good, but I'm just going to make a video so I can get one out there. And I got done and nothing was there. Nothing was there. So apparently I was not supposed to share that video with you. Apparently I was supposed to share this video with you, my remake. I have no idea why. But when you get down on life, I was having a frustrating day in general with a whole lot of things, and it got me down pretty bad. So I know I'm not alone. I know we all go through these things, sometimes for long periods of time. So I was just thinking, like, so what, when we're in these places, what can I share to encourage you in those moments? And I think we probably all know this, but what can we do in those moments? I think the most important thing we just have to do and remember is just keep going. Whatever today is not going to be the same. Tomorrow is not going to be the same as today. Whatever season you're going through, if it's gotten you down, if something has gotten you in a place where you don't know how to keep going, you don't know how you're going to get out, you don't know how this is going to work itself out, just keep going. I know I've been in those situations, you've been in those situations before, and somehow we always come out. We always get through them, right? And we cannot see when we're in the middle of the storm how we're going to get out, but we do. So just keep going, my friend. Pray, keep the faith, and things will look up. So thanks so much for being here today. I appreciate you. I hope you will be back next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.